Hello there. Um, Today I'm going to answer a question. It's been showing up on my social media on a few different forums, and I, again, didn't really go looking for it. I didn't look for it at all, actually. It started showing up. I don't know if it's the same for anyone else, but for me, this question started showing up. And it is, it's directed towards all men. Would they go out with a woke woman? And, that obviously depends on the definition of what is a woke woman. I don't exactly know what that is. Um, there are plenty of women out there that are nice, genuine, caring, and typically not problematic. However, there are a lot of women that are problematic, and they use justification, from my understanding, that is really not reasonable. I'm sure it's a case per case sort of thing, but there are women who use the historical value of what a man going out with a woman, what a relationship of that nature typically ends up as. And through the hundreds and thousands of years, relationships have gone wrong many times. And yes, it probably is the man's fault. Should I be blamed for that? Absolutely not. Am I going to tolerate a woman who is going to exercise her power in a malicious fashion simply to, I don't know, get some self satisfaction out of bullying a guy like me? No. No, I'm not going to put up with that. There are many ways where women can actually be the bullies. And, the thing is, had they up the upper hand throughout history, they would have been the bullies, but they were kind of stupid. They still are kind of stupid. A lot of people are kind of stupid still. And depending on your definition of a woke woman, I would go out with one, and I'd go out with, a not great woke woman, if I had no other choice. Because there are so many ways where women can be bitches, and it is so easy for them to be bitches. And in today's society, it's going to change. It's a pendulum. It goes one way for a few years, and then it's going to go back the other way. That's whether they like it or not, because, there are a lot of men who are not going to put up with it. And it's also not a very intelligent society that we live in. And these women that are, they're going to run around being bitches for selfish reasons, for, self-satisfaction. I'm not going to take them seriously if I have no other choice but to go with them. And if they're ugly, I'm not going to go with them at all. And a woman, there's more to her attractiveness than her body. I mean, that's obviously a big part of it, but there are other things too. If her personality is ugly, and there's a lot of ways where a woman's personality can be hideous, I'm not going with her. I'll avoid them like the plague. Because there are women who are, as Ryan Reynolds put it, cock jugglers. They juggle around men, and they're going with one man for a little while. They keep them roped in, and then they're screwing around with other men, and it's all to humiliate the man, make him a simp, as Paul Joseph Watson would say. And there are men out there that enable women to act like that. And I don't think these women should be rewarded in society for running around um, basically being self indulgent. I mean, there are women who are sex tourists. They want to go out with every type of guy. And it's like, will you get to go out with the mastermind genius, Iron Drac? Not a chance if you're a filthy fucking whore. And, not to say that the very vague definition I've given of what a woman sex tourist is, it's not the same thing as a man who goes to a place like Thailand or something like that and goes with a dirty street prostitute. A woman could be more refined, you know. It's still the same problems as before. That they're actually cock jugglers. They're keeping guys in the loop. They're always gonna be there. It would take a lot to make them, fuck off out of the scene and make sure that they stay out of the scene. Because the women might not even tell you they exist at all until it's, really, it's too late. You're already roped in too tight. And you don't want to be with a woman who, like that, can cheat on you and will create mechanisms to prevent you from doing any retaliatory cheating. Simply because then it only gets worse from there. I mean, I'm not even thinking of any kind of relationships of that serious nature at this point in time is not in my best interest. Again, I do have to make the point that not all women are like that. I'm not one of these guys who talks about Chads and Chaseys, or not Chaseys, Tracys, or Stacys. That's the word I was going to use, or the name I was going to use. Pardon me. I'm not someone who thinks like that, but I'm not going to get put in social circumstances where I have to be nice to people who not only don't like me and never will like me, but have caused me a bit of humiliation, me having to cow down to their superiority, and it's all to bring down my confidence, take me down a peg. And, as a guy who's been beaten up by mental health for so many years, I'm not in the mood. I don't feel like it. And to be quite honest, a woman 10 out of 10 out of the attractiveness scale is not enough. It's not enough to put up with that. And those type of women who act like that, they will try to corrupt any decent woman that is around you. Not only that, they'll try to bully them as well, because they'll try to assert their authority. It's some sort of sexual revolution. And the men that fall into those traps, that's their problem. I am not falling into that trap. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't even have to talk about it. But we live in a world where there isn't normal things going on. And, there's a lot of women out there who think that they're going out with me at some point in time, and I've got news for them. They're not. I'm gonna find out what type of person they are. I'm keen on what type of individual they are. And if I find out they got the wrong personality traits, wrong type of friends, something about them I don't like, I'm going to let them know. I don't necessarily have to be mean about it, but I most certainly can be. Because, I don't think it's fair to be mean unnecessarily, but, you gotta stand your ground, because if you don't, people are going to push you around and, treat you like you're rubbish. like everything you've got to say counts for nothing, and they're so much better than you in every way, and they take things out of context to try to prove that they're better than you in every way. And these are important things to note. So a woman who's aware of the world and how things operate and still has decent personality, physically attractive, overall tries to be nice and kind to people, isn't a bully, that's great. However, there are women that sort of congregate around individuals like myself, who will go on the offensive and quite honestly be predatory, and that is not acceptable. It's something that mainstream media sort of hints, but it's not really stated as a bad thing from what I noticed. And it's like, yes, it is actually. It's not a good thing at all. You're trying to take us into a world where things operate in a screwed up level. And it's like, some people are not going to put up with that. If a woman wants to live that kind of lifestyle, that's her prerogative. She can go do that. She can go do that someplace else. And, a man from my position, turning down women is not exactly what I want to do, but if I have to, I will. Because I am not putting up with a bitch. Some people go, oh, well, it's the love-hate relationship, the sex is better. Sure, you argue a lot, blah, 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 and this, that, and the other, and it's like, it ain't worth it. The price tag is too high for a product that is not worth it. Not fucking worth it. Hump 'em and dump 'em. Get rid of 'em. Because if you don't, you will get pushed into a role that you do not want. You have to stop thinking with your dick. Because if you think with your dick, you're going to end up in a place you don't want to end up in. And there are a lot of people out there that have a lot of screwed up opinions on what society should be. And in this point in time, they're allowed to exercise their beliefs. And mainstream media congratulates them for doing so, for acting like freaks. I think for this, the recipe for a successful relationship is everything is on an even par, or there's at least some semblance of normality, reason, understanding. Whereas if a woman wants to run around acting like a bitch and she's using logic that doesn't make any sense to you because she doesn't tell you about it, she converses with her friends who do not like you, you do not like them, you never will like each other, and you're supposed to put up with this. And so women who are like that, if they try to bring about their friends that at least are neutral to your circle, you should really make it a point to say, I don't have to not like you, but I'm going to not like you anyway. And that's the way it's going to be because of the nature of the woman. And, there's a lot of things that you have to accept, compromises that have to be made in a relationship. However, if you don't like the woman, then, you move on. Because, they're only going to get worse. If you don't like them in the beginning parts, and maybe all you're after is sex, then, eventually you're going to get bored of this bitch. And you're going to get tired of her antics. And you're not going to find her humor funny. That's a very important thing. What do they find funny? And when do they exhibit their signs of trying to be funny? These are important questions, because if they have the wrong sense of humor, then they're gone. Take a hike. Get lost. Do whatever you want with your life. Don't do it around me. Not the answer some people want to hear. It isn't what they want to hear. They want to hear that this guy is, going to have to jump through every hoop. He's going to have to crawl on his hands and knees. And I'm not even going to say the other stuff that they expect, because I don't know. I can only make, predictions. However, I am of the firm belief that there are women out there who, in probably more ways than one, are ugly, that are attracted to me. And no, I'll pass. I'm not interested. I don't want to put up with that. And it's worse when they, you're in your bubble, you're in your thought process, and they feel as though they're woke because they have extended friends, people communicate with them differently, and they're more worldly than someone like myself, and therefore that makes them smarter, and they start thinking of things in a different direction, and they think, well, we can deceive an individual like myself into going into a lifestyle he doesn't want to live. And you would be wrong, because I suspect you. I've suspected you for a very, very long time. And, your antics are not actually very clever at all. I mean, they're easy to get around. And, you have to treat women sometimes like they're worthless, because if you don't, you will get trodden on, and that's not what you want. So, I prefer a woman, approaching me as a known enemy rather than a pretend friend. And, I don't have a problem saying that on YouTube. I'm not going to backtrack on what I've got to say, because I'd like to think I'm not stupid. But, a lot of people like to think that they're so much better than me in every way. And it's, you're not. I'm the best there is. So, yeah, know that, this mental illness that has inflicted society, this particular mental illness, there's been other ones in previous generations, but this particular mental illness is not going to wash. Who would put up with this except for, the most degenerate of men? I don't know who those are. I wouldn't have any association with them. Because they would, cast a bad shadow on me, and I don't want that. So anyway, talk to people later. Have a good one.